Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier and this is the Piracy Show. Now, this week, we are going to discuss the Saber. Now, the Saber, which just came out on the Citizen Con sale, I'm sure abused the wallets of many of us out there. I myself melted for the purchase. As I've said before, I've always planned to have two characters. One character which would be more or less the character that I would use when I'm off on my own doing my own thing. And then another character that would be more or less existing in Empire that would exist as sort of like a softcore criminal smuggler, data thief, so on and so forth. But what I had was I had a whole bunch of leftover crap in my hangar from an earlier project when I was trying to figure out a way that I was going to combine the Hornet Ghost with the Super Hornet and the Hornet Tracker and kind of meld all those pieces to make one kind of Hornet stealth spy ship. And stealth is something that I've always keyed into a lot. I mean, I enjoy playing a rogue. If I'm ever playing Heroes of the Storm, I'm generally playing Nova. Um, of course, when I was talking in an earlier video about, putting so many hours into Silent Hunter 3, I love games with a stealth aspect, even Metal Gear Solid, all that stuff. Anything that involves kind of having to be careful and quiet and sneak around, I love that sort of gameplay. And so this was a ship that very much keyed into that for me. And so when I looked at it, I was just like, I mean, when you look at the ship, I mean, it looks like an F-22 and an F-14 were somehow just kind of combined into one fighter. And then, I mean, the parallels even go beyond that when you look at the internalized weapon bays on the Saber, when you look at the missile racks that deploy from inside the ship. I mean, when I was seeing these pictures, I was just going like, oh my god, this is like, I mean, this almost seems like CIG just said, you know what, let's design a fighter just for Minion Soldier that, kind of keys into like the aesthetics that he likes and the type of gameplay that he likes. I mean, that's really what it felt like, because I was just looking at it going, oh man, this is exactly the ship that I've been wanting in Star Citizen for so long, like a dedicated stealth fighter. And when you hear about the agility, the speed, I'm just like, oh, I mean, it's just absolutely perfect. And then I was reading the Q&A where it says, yeah, and you can retract the guns into the ship so that the guns are no longer sticking out, which was kind of one of my minor qualms with a lot of the fighters in Star Citizen. I've always kind of more preferred internalized weapons, if you know what I mean, guns that are kind of merged into the shape and the body of the fighter. And so I was looking at it and I was thinking, you know what, this is just absolutely awesome. And one of the other things that, kind of sticks out in my mind, and it's one of the things that I'm very acutely aware of course, being someone who wants to play as a pirate, is you never know who's out there hunting for you. You never know, when you might get, ganked or you might get jumped, especially when you're in something as small as a fighter. And having that innate stealth, having a ship that's dedicated to stealth, that's built around stealth, I mean, it really kind of gives you a leg up, and it really kind of gives you an advantage, because how can someone hunt you if they can't see you? How can someone find you if they don't know where you are? And just the ability to kind of skulk around and proceed around unseen is something that really, I think, I mean, it's something that, I mean, as a pirate and as a criminal, you don't want to get caught. You want to be able to sneak around and do whatever you need to do without anybody seeing you or having known that you were there. I mean, you see it in movies and whatnot, but it's always like the perfect crime is always the crime that they don't realize occurred until after you've long since made your getaway. And so this ship really seems to kind of, it really seems to key into the type of gameplay that I really like. So, I mean, when I saw it and I was looking at the size of the guns, I was like, okay, well, I could turn those all into size 3 fixed. That's not a big deal. I like that. 6 missiles. Okay, perfect. And then just reading up all this stuff later on in the Q&A about dedicated stealth and all that, I mean, it was just 100%. I mean, I just went into my hangar as soon as I mean, I was out on the road on my vacation, obviously, and so, I mean, while you guys were all watching CitizenCon, I was kind of driving down a rainy highway and watching my phone, which kind of had a sporadic data connection. I was seeing stuff like, oh, Gary Oldman, Gillian Anderson, Mark Strong, Liam Cunningham, and I was just like, oh, that's cool, man. I mean, Squadron 42 is looking really big now. I mean, this looks really amazing, especially with all the, all the little controversy and bullshit that was happening recently. To see it all of a sudden come, all this stuff come to the fore and be able to see all of it, it was just amazing. And so I'm sitting there and I'm reading all this stuff and I'm like, oh, it's cool, it's cool. And then, I mean, I started seeing, just some people talking about the saber. The saber is cool, and I was, what the fuck is a saber? There's no saber in the game. And so, as I'm kind of sitting there and then, driving down the highway and I'm thinking, saber? What the hell is a saber? And then all of a sudden it dawned on me. It's like, oh man, that's what they were talking about. That fighter that no one's seen yet. That ship that no one's seen and that hasn't been discussed. I was like, I got to get somewhere. I got to be able to see this. And finally, I mean, I was in the passenger seat. So, I mean, I could sit there and play on my phone while we were driving. And I was able to download an image of it, and I just went, oh my god, this is just absolutely perfect. This is exactly the type of gameplay that I look for. And I mean, this fighter is just, when I'm hearing, the initial descriptions of ninja-like, agile, fast, and then, later on, as I'm seeing it, I'm just like, oh, this is absolutely perfect. Perfect. But I was, I was also in a situation where I didn't really have a stable data connection, so I was sitting there going like, man, I gotta get somewhere with some Wi-Fi, because I gotta do some major hangar rearranging, because I wasn't sure for how long this thing was going to be on sale. And I was kind of getting to the point where I was like, I think I gotta sit down somewhere where there's some Wi-Fi, because I gotta melt some stuff and rearrange some stuff. So needless to say, I did eventually buy the saber. I basically cleaned out all the unnecessary junk in my hangar. My Ghost is gone, my Super Hornet's gone, my Cutlass is gone. All those ships are gone, and I even melted my game packages. I had one game package I had alpha access restored to, but I said, you know what, never mind. I just picked up two of the cheapy game packages for both my characters, and then I basically went and got two sabers, one for each character. Perfect. And I think in the end it only cost me with all the stuff that I melted, it only cost me $6.50, I think was the end tally of that. So it's obviously this is something that I've put my money behind. I'm not just sitting there going like, oh, this is cool and maybe you should get it, or maybe you should think about it, or blah 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 blah, because I've already done it. I've already put my money where my mouth is. I am very bullish on this fighter. I think it's a very strong looking offering in the PU, and I really can't wait. I mean, especially when you look at what we're seeing now with, Arena Commander 2.0 coming out. I mean, this is just such an exciting time for Star Citizen. And to have a fighter like this, I mean, with a lot of the earlier fighters, there was certain aspects of those fighters that I liked and certain aspects that I didn't like with a lot of these ships. But this is the first fighter that as soon as I saw it, I was just like, yes. Yes, that's it. Now, I know there's also been, a little bit of controversy. Like, people are going on the forum saying, oh, well, it's got wings. And, in space you don't need wings. And, and then invariably these arguments happen where people say well it flies in an atmosphere, you landed on a planet, so wings are kind of like an energy saving blah 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 blah. And my feelings on it is this. Now, I mean, this is science fiction, this isn't science fact, and the fact of the matter is, I mean, as long as it has the values, the hit points, the stats to make it a good fighter. I mean, the fact that it has wings or not, I mean, really shouldn't affect how it plays in a video game. I mean, I think people are a little too hung up on, oh, it's got wings, that's for aerodynamics, and we're going to be out in space, and people invariably kind of attacking each other's point of view. But in the end, it's kind of funny because, I mean, you know, nobody here has like a degree in aeronautical or aerospace engineering from the 30th century in a fictional universe. So no one can really say, this would work or this won't work because it's fiction, and so I always find these arguments very entertaining. I mean, there's certain logical arguments you can make, but in the end, like, does it look cool? Yeah. Is it going to do the job that it's, built to do? I mean, they seem to be building it in that direction, and I mean, really, that's all you need in a fictional universe. So I am very excited about the saber. I think it's a boon, especially to people who want to do their job without being seen. And so, yes, I do have the saber, and it will be something that hopefully soon will be featured on this show and in my hangar. Now all I have to do is sit there and deal with the fact that all I have are two Aurora MRs and a glaive in my hangar at this point. Well, that is it for my initial opinions on the saber, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and thanks for watching.